evening and welcome back to Mary's Book Club. If you are new, hey, hi, my name is Mary and this is my blog channel where I do a bunch of different things. One of them being review books on Sundays, first Sundays of the month. I didn't catch the deadline this month because I was traveling. I took a little mini vacay. It was necessary and well earned. And nevertheless, here I am. So this month's book is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. It is an international bestseller and it has sold over 50 million copies. Those numbers never impress me, to be honest. While I respect the hustle, that is not how I choose the books that I choose to read. This one kind of happened because I recently looked over the list of books that I had planned to read so that I can review. And I realized a lot of them just didn't align with my current state of mind, my being, my values, and all of that. So I just went ahead and deleted everything. So now I'm starting a fresh list, and I just went on Amazon and did a random search, and this came about. I was actually reading a book about depression prior to this, and so that obviously is a very awesome, thoroughly researched and written book. However, I needed something away completely, like on the other end of things, right? So while I always say I don't take self-help, I take it with a grain of salt, right? I never take it so literal. I've done a ton of self-help books in my life. And so I think that I get the gist of what they're all trying to say, right? But nevertheless, I still try to find little nuggets in each one that I read. And I knew that if I wanted to get away from the darkness of reading about depression, a self-help book would be the cure. Does that make sense? But anyway, the book is basically just about paying attention to things that you have learned and in essence unlearning them for a better future, which is something that I feel like I've always been very passionate about. But in the last year or two, I've really tuned into it. I've really become a fan of the word why, and not for no other reason, but to just hold myself accountable and to really inquire deeply about the things that I do or think or feel, about certain opinions that I hold, right? Where do they come from, right? Do they still serve me? Because if not, it's time to do away with them. Let's just jump into the quotes. Ooh, I highlighted so much, y'all. I just feel like I'm gonna read half of this book, you know? Crazy. All right, let's see. The only thing we are ever dealing with is a thought, and a thought can be changed. Facts. Even self-hatred is only hating a thought you have about yourself. This is only to show us where we get many of our beliefs. Let's not use this information as an excuse to stay stuck in our pain. Facts. Facts. Believe it or not, we do choose our thoughts. We may habitually think the same thought over and over and over so that it does not seem we're choosing the thoughts. But we did make the original choice. That's facts. This is the same thing I say about love, right? You choose who you end up falling in love with. Why is that? Because in the beginning, you made that original choice to fall. Does that make sense? You made the original choice to be vulnerable. You made the original choice to open up yourself to the possibility of being loved or hurt by this person. Does that make sense? Would like to say, oh, love is blind. Oh, love is not really. To the certain extent, like there was a point when you still had the control of whether or not you wanted to involve yourself with this person. Do you get my drift? All right. It seems to me that everyone on this planet whom I know or have worked with is suffering from self-hatred and guilt to one degree or another. That's fact. I don't know about the self-hatred part, but maybe I just haven't like quite accepted that bit. But guilt is the real thing. If you find yourself saying, everyone always does such and such to me, criticizes me, is never there for me, uses me like a doormat, abuses me, then this is your pattern. There is some thought in you that attracts people who exhibit this behavior. When you no longer think that way, they will go elsewhere and do that to somebody else. You will no longer attract them. You know, my therapist was telling me to tread lightly with Louise Hay because she was saying how, like, especially once she became really big, that she felt like some of the things she was saying was outlandish, like telling people that had cancer that they could just think themselves out of it. And so I thought to highlight this bit because I was like a little bit on the fence. Like, I don't know that I'm fully bought into the fact that we attract negative and we choose to be, you know, that's neither here nor there. That's because literally she says, I have found that forgiving and releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. While this may sound simplistic, I have seen and experienced it working. Oh no. Oh no. I often say to people who have deep resentment patterns, please begin to dissolve the resentment now when it is relatively easy. Don't wait until you are under the throat of a surgeon's knife or on your deathbed when you may or may have to deal with panic too. That's fact. Even our concept of God needs to be one that is for us, not against us. That's facts. That's a whole nother something else. We're not going to get into that. Loving and approving of yourself, creating a space of safety, trusting and deserving and accepting will create organization in your mind, create more loving relationships in your life, attract a new job and a new and better place to live, and even enable your body weight to normalize. I've seen that happen. People who love themselves and their bodies neither abuse themselves nor others. Yeah, I guess you can only give what you have. I like these little affirmations that she has in the book at the end of each chapter. She actually says like to not read and just like rush through it. She says you can skim through it the first time, but she basically was saying like for each chapter, put it down and like let it resonate with you. And this is kind of like the way I like to read books anyway. Blame is one of the surest ways to stay in a problem. In blaming another, we give away our power. Understanding enables us to rise above the issue and take control of our future. How much do you know about your parents' childhoods, especially before the age of 10? If it's still possible for you to find out, ask them. If you're able to find out about your parents' childhoods, you will more easily understand why they did what they did. Understanding will bring you compassion. When there is a problem, there's something to do. There's something to know. That's my favorite part, that knowing is the thing. It's like, what am I supposed to be knowing right now? It is my deep desire that the topic, how your thoughts work, would be the very first subject taught in schools. Ditto. I have never understood the importance of having children memorize battle dates. It seems like such a waste of mental energy. Instead, we could teach them important subjects, such as how the mind works, how to handle finances, how to invest money for financial security, how to be a parent, how to create good relationships, how to create and maintain self-esteem and self-worth. Can you imagine what a whole generation of adults would be like if they had been taught these subjects in school along with the regular curriculum? Think how these truths would manifest. We would have happy people who feel good about themselves. We would have people who are comfortable financially, who enrich the economy by investing their money wisely. They would have good relationship with everyone and would be comfortable with the role of parenthood, and then go on to create another generation of children who feel good about themselves. Yet within all of this, each person would remain an individual, expressing his or her own creativity. There is no time to waste. Let's continue with our work, she says. Man, that she just described as a dream. And you may be watching this thinking, well, how realistic is that? Very. It is. The problem is that our trauma and our pain and our suffering is so generationally like deep that I recognize that this is not something that would just like happen overnight. But it's still a dream to live in nevertheless, or to even imagine. So here's one of the affirmations that I quite liked that really like spoke to me. I no longer choose to believe in old limitations and lack. I now choose to begin to see myself as the universe sees me, perfect, whole, and complete. The truth of my being is that I was created perfect, whole, and complete. I will always be perfect, whole, and complete. I now choose to live my life from this understanding. I am in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. All is well in my world. Believe it or not, all those things I read are not even the thing. It's the all is well in my world for me. Like, I feel like I just want to plaster that all over my house. All is well in my world. This one talks about change. She says, by giving up, and I mean by deciding it's all hopeless and impossible to make any changes, so why try? The rest of it goes, just stay the way you are. At least you know how to handle that pain. You don't like it, but it's familiar, and you hope it won't get any worse. Yikes. It would be much more helpful to ask yourself, how are you creating so many situations to get angry at? Why do you believe that to get your way, you need to get angry? Why? The more tenaciously I hold on to an old belief when I say I want to make a change, the more I know this is an important one for me to release. Facts. It is only by learning these things that I can teach others. It is my opinion that many really good teachers do not come from joyful households where all was easy. They come from a place of much pain and suffering, and they've worked through the layers to reach the place where they can now help others become free. The main difference between the way I used to work at releasing beliefs and the way I do today is that now I don't have to be angry at myself in order to do so. I no longer choose to believe that I'm a bad person just because I find something else to change within me. Can I stop now, guys? Have you had enough? Be aware that where you do not want to change is exactly the area where you need to change the most. I'm gonna stop, because trust me, I have so much. I have so much more that I highlighted, so much more that I want to share. But one of the things that I know that I want to do is, once I build a community here on this channel, is just start to give the books away, because you guys know that I am all about keeping things minimal. So I do not want to start a whole collection of books. And so for the lucky person who wins the giveaway monthly, you will get to see the things that I highlighted that I did not actually share. Does that make sense? All right, so now time to rate the book. This is a toughie. I'm gonna give it a 4.7 out of 5, only because that 0.3 is just, again, the times that I feel like she stretched it a little bit, you know. There's a little bit of a God complex there, you know, in certain areas. It's human nature to get so good at what you do and then to start to like overstate things. And so I won't take that away from her, but from the book, I'm gonna give it a 4.7.5 out of 5. As usual, there's gonna be links to the physical copy, the audio, and the Kindle version down below. There's also a link to previous book reviews that I did on the previous channel. If you enjoy, please subscribe and give book recommendations. We are starting from scratch. I do not have a long list of books. I am completely open to your suggestions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next month on Mary's Book Club. Bye.